Welcome to our special report on the latest global conflicts and crises. I'm Anderson Cooper, and today we'll be covering significant developments from around the world. From the escalating tensions in the Middle East to the unfolding humanitarian crises in Africa, we'll bring you in-depth analysis and on-the-ground reporting. Our team of correspondents is stationed across the globe, providing you with the latest information and insights into these critical events. Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar has declared that the organization is prepared for a long-term war with Israel. Speaking from a hidden location in Gaza, Sinwar projected an image of defiance, stating that Hamas possesses the resources and the willpower to sustain a prolonged conflict. He emphasized the unwavering support from regional allies, signaling a united front against Israel. This declaration comes in the wake of the recent escalation of violence in the region, raising fears of a protracted and bloody conflict. The international community has expressed deep concern over Sinwar's statements, urging all parties to exercise restraint and seek a peaceful resolution to the crisis. However, with Hamas digging in its heels and Israel vowing to defend its citizens, the prospects of a swift de-escalation appear increasingly dim. In a significant diplomatic move, Saudi Arabia has announced plans to host an Arab summit focused on the reconstruction of Gaza. The summit aims to address the urgent humanitarian needs of the Palestinian people and lay the groundwork for a long-term rebuilding effort. Saudi Arabia, a key player in the region, has pledged substantial financial aid and called on other Arab nations to contribute generously. A central theme of the summit will be the prevention of Palestinian displacement from Gaza, a pressing concern given the widespread destruction caused by the recent conflict. The Saudis have emphasized the importance of ensuring security and stability in the region as a prerequisite for successful reconstruction. The Democratic Republic of Congo is facing a deepening crisis as M23 rebels claim control of Bukavu, the second-largest city in the country's volatile east. A rebel leader announced the capture of Bukavu after their forces seized the local airport, marking a significant escalation in the conflict. The Congolese army has been battling the M23, a group accused of receiving support from neighboring Rwanda, for years. The fall of Bukavu represents a major setback for the Congolese government and raises fears of a wider regional conflagration. The international community has condemned the rebel advance and called for an immediate ceasefire. However, with the M23 emboldened by their recent victory, the prospects for a peaceful resolution appear increasingly uncertain. Chapter 4. The humanitarian crisis in Sudan's Darfur region has reached a new low with the Rapid Support Forces attack on the Zamzam refugee camp. The attack on the camp, home to thousands of displaced civilians, has been widely condemned as a war crime. The RSF, a paramilitary group accused of widespread atrocities, has denied involvement in the attack. However, eyewitness accounts and evidence gathered by humanitarian organizations point to the RSF's culpability. The attack on Zamzam is the latest in a series of attacks on civilians in Darfur, a region already grappling with famine and widespread displacement. The international community has called for an immediate end to the violence and unimpeded access for humanitarian aid. Chapter 5. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons has announced the discovery of tear gas traces on Ukrainian battlefields, raising concerns over the possible use of chemical weapons in the ongoing conflict. While tear gas is not considered a lethal chemical weapon, its use in warfare is prohibited under the Chemical Weapons Convention. The OPCW's findings have sparked international condemnation, with Western nations accusing Russia of violating international law. Russia has denied any involvement in the use of chemical weapons, claiming that the OPCW's findings are part of a Western propaganda campaign. The discovery of tear gas traces has heightened anxieties about the potential for the conflict to escalate to the use of more deadly chemical agents. Pope Francis is currently hospitalized in Rome after experiencing a mild fever. The Vatican has released a statement assuring the public that the Pope's condition is stable and that he is undergoing medical examinations. The 86-year-old pontiff has been experiencing health issues in recent years, including knee problems that have limited his mobility. The news of the Pope's hospitalization has sparked concern and prayers from Catholics around the world. The Vatican has not provided a timeline for the Pope's release from the hospital, stating that he will remain under observation until his doctors are satisfied with his progress. The dismantling of the U.S. Foreign Aid Agency has left global disaster response teams unable to deploy in international emergencies, raising concerns about America's readiness to handle worldwide crises. With funding cuts and staff shortages plaguing the agency, its ability to respond effectively to natural disasters, famines, and other emergencies has been severely compromised. This comes at a time when the world is facing an unprecedented number of humanitarian crises, from the war in Ukraine to the drought in the Horn of Africa. The lack of a robust U.S. response has shifted the burden onto other nations and international organizations, which are already stretched thin. Critics argue that the current administration's policies are undermining America's global leadership and jeopardizing the lives of millions in need. U.S. authorities are investigating whether incorrect data was used by the Black Hawk helicopter crew before the fatal crash that occurred recently. The investigation is focusing on the possibility that the helicopter's navigation system may have been fed inaccurate information, leading the pilots off course and into a fatal descent. The Black Hawk, a workhorse of the U.S. military, has a generally good safety record, making this crash all the more perplexing. Investigators are meticulously analyzing flight data recorders, maintenance logs, and interviewing personnel to determine the cause of the crash. The families of the deceased crew members are demanding answers as they grieve the loss of their loved ones. The outcome of the investigation could have significant implications for Black Hawk operations and pilot training procedures. Thank you for joining us for this special report. The world is facing complex and interconnected challenges, from armed conflicts to humanitarian crises. Staying informed about these events is crucial to understanding the forces shaping our world and the human toll they exact. We will continue to provide in-depth coverage and analysis of these developing stories, bringing you the latest information and diverse perspectives. I'm Anderson Cooper, and we'll see you next time.